Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders are typically caricatured by their worst supporters. In political science, there's a theory called the horseshoe theory that describes the political continuum as a horseshoe, meaning that the further right or left that you go, the more in common that you have with the other side. Could this be true? Is it possible that Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders are not actually that different? Welcome to the Zeitgeist, guys. I know that you're probably wondering how on earth anyone could find similarities between Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders, so let's get started with major policy positions.
As Bernie Sanders said, Hillary Clinton voted for virtually every trade agreement that has cost the workers of this country millions of jobs.
Our disastrous trade agreements, which have allowed corporate America to shut down in this country, move to Mexico, move to China, move to other low-wage countries, produce their products there, and then bring those products back into the United States.
Amongst all of the noise, trade has actually been Donald Trump's largest policy issue. Trump frequently railed against NAFTA and free trade deals, and one of the first things that he did was withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership. He renegotiated NAFTA, renegotiated trade with Japan and Korea, and he notoriously put tariffs on China, forcing them into phase one of a major trade deal. Bernie Sanders disagreed with Trump's renegotiated NAFTA, but not because it went too far, but because it did not go far enough in bringing back American jobs. Bernie Sanders also unequivocally opposed the Trans-Pacific Partnership during his 2016 campaign. Bernie has consistently railed against normalized relations with China because of manufacturing jobs that have been sent offshore. Both Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders supported protectionist trade policies, and they made a significant portion of their campaigns about renegotiating bad trade deals in order to bring back manufacturing jobs.
Today, I'm signing an executive order to ensure that the federal government lives by a very simple rule: hire American. We've been doing it at a level that hasn't been done maybe ever.
Open borders.
Open
borders. That's a Koch brothers proposal. The
Really?
idea, of course. I mean, that's a right-wing proposal, which says essentially there is no United States.
But it would make a lot of the global poor richer, wouldn't it?
And it'd make everybody in America poor. Then you're doing away with the concept of a nation state.
Donald Trump has been vocal, to say the least, about limiting immigration. This is both legal and illegal immigration. Trump has banned entry from certain countries and made additions to the existing border wall on the southern border. Interestingly, his administration took more asylum seekers than any previous administration. However, they also denied a higher percentage as well. There was also a slight increase in temporary workers during the Trump administration. For years, Bernie Sanders warned against legal immigration because he believed that it drove wages down and took jobs from American workers. He has consistently focused on guest worker programs in particular, but he has also explained that an influx of illegal immigrants have this same effect. He believes that loose immigration policies are pushed by corporate America to help their bottom lines, but they cause more poverty for American citizens. Both Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders have America First immigration policies. They just use very different language to articulate on them.
I'm not saying the military is in love with me, the soldiers are. The top people in the Pentagon probably aren't, because they want to do nothing but fight wars so that all of those wonderful companies that make the bombs and make the planes and make everything else stay happy.
One of the differences that Joe and I have in our record is Joe voted for that war. I helped lead the opposition to that war, which is a total disaster.
Donald Trump went against Republican orthodoxy by challenging their typical interventionist foreign policy. He constantly talked about pulling troops out of Afghanistan and Syria and believed that we have wasted lots of money on pointless wars in the Middle East. He even went as far as to call out the military-industrial complex by name. But his performance was checkered. He did reduce the troops in Afghanistan, but he was unable to completely withdraw. He also ended the CIA program financing the Syrian rebels. He also did not start any new wars, but he made massive weapons deals with Saudi Arabia and he drastically increased drone strikes. He also maintained heavy sanctions on Iran, Syria, and Russia. Bernie Sanders has been extremely vocal about the failed wars in the Middle East. He voted against the Iraq War and grilled both Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden for voting for this. He also made it clear that he would end the war in Afghanistan if elected, but he was also very adamant about rejoining the Iran nuclear deal and changing the relationship with Saudi Arabia. While he has the opposite position as Trump on the Iran-Saudi Arabia feud, both Bernie and Trump have been extremely critical of the foreign policy establishment in Washington.
Universal health care.
I am going to take care of everybody. I don't care if it costs me votes or not. Everybody's going to be taken care of much better than they're taken care of now.
The uninsured person
Right.
is going to be taken care of.
They're going to be taken care of.
How?
I would make a deal with existing hospitals to take care of people. And you know what? This is probably...
Make a deal. Who pays for it?
The government's going to pay for it, but we're going to save so much money on the other side.
On many occasions, Trump has advocated for a Medicare for All type healthcare system. He conspicuously had no healthcare policy during his administration, making me wonder if he withheld plans for a Medicare for All type system because it was not politically possible at the time. I wonder if he would have revealed these plans if the House and Senate had been controlled by the Democrats. I guess we'll never know. However, Trump did use an executive order allowing the importation of various pharmaceutical drugs, allowing Medicare to negotiate prices, in turn bringing down pharmaceutical drug prices. The pharmaceutical companies were furious and even ran ads against Trump after he signed this order. Obviously, healthcare is Bernie Sanders' bread and butter, as he has advocated for Medicare for all for decades. Believe it or not, Bernie Sanders was actually in support of Trump's executive order, as lowering prescription drug prices had been an objective of his and other progressives for quite some time.
Under the executive order I'm signing today, we will prioritize federal grants from the Department of Justice to police departments that seek independent credentialing, certifying that they meet high standards, and in fact, in certain cases, the highest standard. That's where they do the best.
Nobody I know who's running for office talks about defunding the police. What we talk about is making police officers accountable, making sure that police departments do what they can do best.
To nobody's surprise, Donald Trump is a big fan of the police. During the Black Lives Matter protests and riots, Trump fervently defended the police and has advocated for higher pay to try and push back against the defund the police movement. At the same time, Trump was in favor of police reform and was a supporter of the bill that Senator Tim Scott tried to get passed. Contrary to popular belief, Bernie Sanders pushed back hard against the defund the police movement and actually advocated to give more funding to the police. He justified this by saying that better pay and training would incentivize better candidates to join the force. He also supported police reform, but he didn't believe that Tim Scott's bill went far enough.
I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple.
To Donald Trump's credit, he has consistently been in support of going big on stimulus checks. He has directly opposed traditional conservatism with his willingness to deficit spend and had a big offer for second stimulus checks that Nancy Pelosi refused to take. Both Trump and Bernie have been in favor of $2,000 stimulus checks. Trump's 4 years in office have ballooned the debt more than any other president in history. Bernie's critics frequently pointed out that his proposals would push the debt to unsustainable levels. But like Trump, it appears that he was not at all worried about the debt.
From an elderly woman.
Let me talk quiet.
How tough is it?
A lot of times, that's all of his donors and special interests out there. So, it's what it is. That's what, and by the way, let me just tell you, we needed tickets. You can't get them. You know who has the tickets for I'm talking about to the television audience? Donors, special interest, the people that are putting up the money. So it is. The RNC told us we have all donors in the audience, and the reason they're not loving me, the reason they're not loving me is I don't want their money.
You know, there is a reason why these people are putting huge amounts of money into our political system. And in my view, it is undermining American democracy, and it is allowing Congress to represent wealthy campaign contributors and not the working families of this country.
Besides all of the similarities in policy, both Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders both identified the same problem in the political system. This problem being that politicians do not work for their constituents, but instead work for their campaign donors. This message was so popular that it allowed both Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump to pack out stadiums across the country to spread their message. However, many Trump supporters fear Bernie Sanders because he has been branded as a socialist, and many Bernie Sanders supporters fear Trump because he has been branded as a fascist. If both sets of supporters were to flip the script and look at the battle as establishment versus anti-establishment, Trump and Bernie would be allies against the likes of people like Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and Jeb Bush. If Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders were to set aside their differences and combine their extremely passionate followers, this could be a political movement unlike anything ever seen before. Could it ever happen? That's the Zeitgeist, guys. I hope you enjoy that, and I look forward to seeing your respectful comments down below. I know that politics makes people crazy, so keep it classy and let's have some intelligent discourse. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like, share, or subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for listening, guys, and I will see you all in the next one.